Yeah, our legacy data warehouse was performing very slowly. So on a month-end run, just to get it populated would take us about 3 days to populate it. And then we'd have to switch it over and then run our reporting, which would also take another 3 days to run the month-end reporting. And then we'd publish it out and everyone would consume it. So that was becoming increasingly longer as we got more and more data, and we were very slow to get business answers. And our actuaries were complaining they would start a query on a Friday and come in on Monday and found out that it had failed about 24 hours into it, or else that they came back Monday and it was successful, but they had put the wrong parameters in. So they would have to start over again. So those were the things that drove us to look for a different solution. And the solutions we came up with initially were rewriting the data warehouse, which really wasn't a solution that we could do feasibly. Then the other solution was perhaps we could upgrade our software and put more hardware at it. And when we presented that offer to management, it was about $500,000 plus maybe another 6 weeks to 6 months of time. And then my colleague, Ken Wood, had gone to a seminar and had seen something about Snowflake. And yeah, this is where the sales guy, we called him up and he said, oh yeah, you should take a look at it. Here's what it can do for you. And frankly, we didn't believe it at all. So that was a barrier right there. That's one of the main barriers, that disbelief. So we tried it. It took us about 3 days to move our entire data warehouse as is, just move it up to the cloud. And that's another barrier. Once we proved out Snowflake, had it running, compared our existing, we took a set of queries where it took about 28 hours to process collectively, and then we ran the same queries on Snowflake, and it took 13 minutes collectively. So we didn't believe it at first. I thought, we didn't really load the data warehouse. Actually, what happened was we maybe were running against caches that were in MicroStrategy, but that really couldn't be because we had changed some of the parameters. So we looked at it again, and yes, we had really loaded the data. It really was there. And we proved it out a few more times and showed the results to management, but they also didn't believe it at first. They actually were in disbelief, so that was another barrier to getting us to get it. But when we, again, showed them, well, we could do it differently, we could have the $500,000, they went with Snowflake instead. That barrier I mentioned about moving the data up to the cloud, that was a barrier also, to have it done in an automated fashion and regular. There really aren't any tools for us to do it. It's not that hard, but we had a couple hundred tables to move from our existing legacy data warehouse up to the cloud. So we wrote our own piece of code to do that in an automated fashion. So we still build our warehouse in the same amount of time, but when we now move it to the cloud, it happens in under 2 hours. We can move the whole thing. And as Bob had mentioned earlier, you can query it while it's being loaded. So there's zero downtime on our data warehouse now. We have no downtime. The perception is it's always up. When month end finishes, it's there. And additionally, now we have daily. It's opened our resources up to provide daily and up to the minute performance on our new products.